Hey guys, I'm Ryan, and on this episode of Baking with Ryan, I'm going to show you how to make a hot cocoa cake with a face. This cake is really cool because it's totally customizable, and it really looks like a mug of hot cocoa. I made the top of it by using melted chocolate and marshmallows. It also tastes really delicious. Without further ado, let's get right into the video.
The ingredients you'll need to make the cake are 3 6-inch cakes, marshmallows of any size, chocolate chips, toothpicks, fondant, and any frosting color of your choice. I'm so excited to announce that I just launched my very own website. On here you'll find all of my cake recipes, frosting recipes, and so much more. There's even a part of the website where I show you every single cake tool that I use. If you want to check out the website, I'll leave a link in the description box below. Before assembling the cake, be sure to level the layers. I like doing this using a cake leveler. You can find the one that I use on my website. But if you don't have a cake leveler, that's totally fine. You could also do it using a serrated knife. Just be sure to keep the knife straight. Once all of the cake layers are leveled, it's time to assemble the cake. Begin by spreading down some buttercream on top of a cake board on top of a cake turntable. Then place down the first layer of cake. After that, use an ice cream scoop to measure out 2 scoops of buttercream. I like to do this because it ensures that you have the same amount of buttercream between every layer. To smooth out the buttercream, carefully use a small offset spatula. You'll know when to place on the next layer when it's perfectly smooth. Place on the second layer and repeat the process that we just did. Be sure to place down your third and final layer upside down. This will ensure that your cake has really sharp edges. To start off the crumb coat, use an offset spatula and smooth out any buttercream that's sticking out the sides of the cake. Then pile more buttercream on top and spread it out with an offset spatula. When the buttercream starts hanging over the sides of the cake, begin to cover the sides with more buttercream. Right now, the goal is to cover the cake entirely in buttercream. Don't worry about it being smooth right now, just make sure there's no cake that's left uncovered. I like smoothing my cakes using a bench scraper. The one that I use will be on my website. Begin by holding the bench scraper parallel to the cake. Then start spinning the turntable. Don't move the bench scraper, only move the cake. Continue the smoothing process until your cake is covered in one thin layer of buttercream. It's totally fine if there's cake showing through. I'd actually say that there should be cake showing through. Next, take an offset spatula and smooth out any buttercream that's sticking up. After that, place the cake in the fridge for 30 minutes until the buttercream is firm to the touch. While your cake is in the fridge, let's make the chocolate disc. Begin by melting the chocolate chips in the microwave. Then spread out the melted chocolate on a piece of parchment paper. I recommend measuring out the size circle that you want beforehand. This can either be a 4-inch circle or a 5-inch circle, and then covering it with chocolate and making sure it's fully covered. Before letting the chocolate dry, randomly place marshmallows all around it. I recommend leaving a border around the sides so you can tell that it's hot chocolate. Next, pull the cake out of the fridge and replace it with the chocolate topper. I'm doing the final coat using acrylic discs. I'll show you how to use them now, but you totally don't need to. To do it without acrylic discs, just pile on more buttercream on top and repeat the crumb coat process. As you can tell, I assembled the cake with an acrylic disc on the bottom and now I'm placing one on top. After this, spread buttercream to attach the top acrylic disc to the cake. Once it's attached, fill in the rest of the cake with more buttercream. Be sure that the buttercream is sticking out farther than the acrylic discs. Just like before, all we're trying to do is make sure that the cake is covered in an even layer of buttercream. Once it's completely covered, use a cake smoother and smooth out all of the buttercream. After going around once with a cake scraper, fill in any gaps using an offset spatula. Then smooth it out one more time. Once you're completely satisfied by how smooth the frosting is, remove the acrylic disc. Do this by running a small offset spatula under the disc and then spin the turntable. it should come off with ease. When you pull off the acrylic disc, it's not going to look perfect, so I recommend grabbing a small offset spatula and smoothing out the buttercream. After this part, grab the chocolate disc out of the fridge and place it right on top in the center. It's time to make the decorations. I colored my fondant in white, red, and black. First we're going to make the handle. Begin by rolling out 2 strings of fondant, one that's white and one that's red. Be sure that they're the same thickness and length. I chose these colors because they reminded me of a candy cane. Begin making the handle by laying both the red and the white next to each other and then twist it up tightly. Once it's tightly twisted, curl the fondant to the shape of a handle. Then cut off any excess fondant to make sure the handle is the perfect size. Before attaching the handle, be sure to place a toothpick on each side. Make sure that a quarter of the toothpick is left visible. Ideally, you want to let the handle sit out for at least an hour before attaching it, and please don't put it in the freezer. I tried this, it did not work. The final decoration that I made is the face. Begin by rolling out some black fondant and cutting out 2 circles with piping tips. Also, use white fondant and cut out 2 other circles that are smaller. Next, place each of the white circles on the top left corner of the black circle. I recommend dipping your finger in water and pressing it on the white circle before placing it down. To finish off the eyes, take 2 small dots of white fondant and press them in under the white circles. Also, create a mouth out of another small piece of black fondant. All that's left to do is attach the face and then attach the handle. Be sure to press the handle in far enough so that it doesn't fall out.
Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more cakes every single week.